is not the boss. But anyways, and then one person was saying, how come, oh yeah, why don't you contact that woman who married American and find out the issues? So, okay. But she was saying that the Colombian women have good legs because there's so many hills and yeah, the landscape is actually hilly and around the volcanoes. Oh, is this similar to Japan then? Yeah, that's why I'm going to continue reading in the journey of Basho. And, page 121 in Basho's journey. Okay. This one's about Akechi's wife. Oh, is this an example of a wife? Yeah, I stayed over at the house of Yugen in the Ishi province. His wife was in complete accord with the wishes of her husband. Wow. So, you like a wife like that? But I don't think you can get it. Yeah. So you don't have any faith that they will be like that? No. I'm not. I find that they are in accord with their own wishes. His wife was in complete accord with the wishes of her husband, faithful in every way, and she soothed a traveler's weary heart. Wow. So maybe you should go to Japan and find a faithful, a complete accord with the wishes of her husband. Yeah. Wow. How do you get that? They sell robots now that can be in complete accord with the wishes of you and faithful in you in every way. Yeah. When Akechi fell into poverty, his wife cut her hair so she could prepare a Renga gathering. Huh. A Renga gathering is like a poetry reading, so like if I fall into poverty, my wife would have to cut her hair so she could prepare for me to have a podcast. Yeah. When Akechi fell into poverty, his wife cut her hair so she could prepare a Renga gathering or a poetry reading in this podcast, recalling now her selfless nature. Suke sabe yo. Akechi ka suma no hanashi-sen. Yeah, like I think I thought it translates to moon. Moon, be lonely. Oh, I want to tell of Akechi's wife. Huh. I guess if, I met a guy who had a very virtuous wife. She looked virtuous, even her manner was virtuous. And he had lovely kids, and I said, oh, a good wife is hard to find. And she was good looking, and she was working, and I want to tell of his wife. Okay. But the moon, even so, the moon is lonely. Like, you could be lonely without a wife. Okay. Her selfless nature. Yeah, I guess you just don't want one that's narcissistic. Oh. Yeah, well, why don't you just have them brain scanned or have a psych test or something? I don't know what you're going to do about the wife situation. Okay. Yeah, I think I posted something about the Buddhist teachings in Japan, about how I read in a book, the Buddhist book on guidelines for a wife or guidelines for marriage or something. And I thought I could have then the women could read the posting on Wix blog, but I got no bites. Oh, in other words, you didn't find a wife? No, I posted what a wife should be like, and no one applied. Yeah, no one has applied. That's why it was a complete failure. Oh, what happened? Yeah, all English women hate me. In other words, not a single one understood my poetry. Oh, that's crazy stuff. And this podcast is crazy. So they were right to avoid you. Oh, okay. So then, in that case, then you should go ahead with your plans for a Spanish wife, I guess. That way, she won't interfere, and she won't understand. Of course, the English ones didn't understand either, so what's the difference? They don't understand me, so I might as well just get a Spanish wife. Yeah, and then you won't understand her, and she won't understand you, and you can just be in a soothing state of complete accord. Yeah, I'll be, we could be, it might work out just better because we'll focus on the hardcore basic practical matters. Okay. And I won't have to deal with abstract thinking, which is a burden to me at the moment. So, oh, I see. So that's why you have no girlfriends. No, I have one Spanish girlfriend. She still loves me, but she doesn't understand a bit of my poetry because she can't read English. Okay, well, your poetry and your podcast is not important. So what difference does it make? Okay. An account of pure washed hall. Mountains are still. Well, that's the thing about a mountain. It's still. Mountains are still and cultivates one's nature. That's why I want to go to the mountain. I need to cultivate my nature, so I will be attracted to English women. But, yeah, you're barbaric in a way, and uncultured. So, mountains are still and cultivate one's nature. Water moves and consoles the feelings. There is a person who makes his dwelling between tranquility and movement. His name is Akechi. With his eyes, he takes in all the scenery. Yeah, there is a person myself, who dwells between tranquility and movement. Yeah. When I first do meditation, and then later I'll do extreme action in tennis playing, and I hit the ball at 150 miles an hour. Oh, that sounds good. So you make your dwelling between tranquility and movement? Yeah. And my name is David Smith, and with his eyes he takes in all the scenery. Yeah, and I almost always am looking at the vistas and the miradors, and I go to like the observation decks, and with my eyes I take in all the scenery of Colombia. Oh, okay. Because the mountains are still and cultivate one's nature. With his mouth, he gives voice to aesthetic creativity. Yeah, with my mouth, I give voice to this podcast. He clears himself of impurities and washes away the dust of the world. And his dwelling is called Pure Washed Hall. Yeah, I clear myself of impurities and wash away the dust of the world not by taking a shower, but by meditation. Oh, is that how you wash yourself? I thought you had to listen to the broadcast of the Master. Yeah, that can be cleansing in a way to go to satsang. You could either go to satsang or meditate. Oh, what about... Okay, he displays a precept banner at his gate. Yeah, and I display my precepts in this podcast and in my poetry. He displays a precept banner at his gate, which reads, "Discrimination is not permitted to enter through this gate." Yeah, like like if you were judgmental of others or something, or else you talk and criticize others or something like that, you're not permitted to listen to this podcast at all. Get off, so turn it off. If you are judgmental in the least bit. Discrimination is not permitted to enter through this gate, this podcast, into this podcast. An intriguing advance on Sokan's playful verse of instruction. In his 2 simple 10-foot square rooms, he continues the rustic simplicity of Riku and Sho, but he pays no heed to formal regulations. Yeah, like I live in rustic simplicity, but I had like a ticket from Easy Pass because I didn't pay attention to formal regulations. Oh my God, what happened? Yeah, I had a bill from, they were saying how I had a $4 Easy Pass bill. Okay, what happened? And then because I didn't pay, because I was in Colombia, they moved the bill up to $54. Wow, that's pretty stupid. You didn't pay attention to formal regulations? No. In his he plants trees and arranges rocks, taking these as his pleasures in a temporary world. Yeah, I do certain things as the pleasures in the temporary world, like I'm playing tennis as a pleasure, but it helps me with fitness on the side, and I also go to the coffee shop and drink my coffee, to read books. What are your other pleasures? You like pleasures. You go to the hot spring and you play volleyball. You take pleasure. Yeah, I arrange things and then take pleasure in the temporary world. At Omono Bay, Sita and Karasaki extend to the right and left like 2 sheaves, which embrace like Biwa and face Mikamiyama. Because the lake resembles the shape of a biwa, and the echoing pine wind creates music with the waves. The wind creates music with the waves. And the wind, cosmic wind coming from the inner space, it creates nam, or word, which creates waves of music, which is called the music of the spheres, or it's also called kama, or nam, or word. Or I thought you would have known all the different words for the sonorous light of the Buddhist. Yeah, looking up at an angle, one can see the Mount Hiyo and the high peak of Mount Hira in the Mount of Ota, located behind their shoulders. Mount Nagara is arranged with spring blossoms like hair, and the Mirror Mountain adorns the autumn moon. The view changes like a lady's makeup, from pale to dark day by day. The lady's makeup changes from pale to dark day by day. Yeah, like a lady's, like the lady. Oh, you admired that lady at the Cartagena Music Festival. Yeah, actually, she had a whole. Well, you're going to see at a festival of this caliber, you're going to see some of the most decked out, beautiful women, but they're going to be old. Oh, because they become rich when they get old, because they marry a rich man, and then they get old, and then they go, instead of having sex, they go to a concert. Oh, yeah, so she had like a whole range of necklaces and bracelets and earrings of emeralds. Yeah, and they actually weren't fake, of course. She sat in the box. She was sitting in the box, the first class box for listening in the beautiful concert hall. But her eye makeup was emerald. It was green and matched her earrings. Wow. She's like a genius. And but I don't know. It's unusual. Unusual to see a woman of her age. She could have been 75, 80, or 70, who knows. But she loved the attention. So I don't know. But she was very pleasant as well. It took my picture. The wind and clouds of Kenseki's creative heart surely follows such a scene. From the four directions, blossoms are blowing in waves of the Grenby. The blossoms are blowing in. Apparently, a good wife is in complete accord with the wishes of her husband. She's faithful in every way, and she soothes the traveler's weary heart. Yeah, these kind of women rarely are soothing. Most of the time, they're putting on their makeup, and I don't know if the makeup is soothing, but some can be beautiful, and others are just too much makeup. Yeah. Well, let's just say that discrimination is not permitted to enter this podcast, so I'm not allowed to pass judgment upon the women. Oh, so you're not going to pass judgment? No. Oh, yeah. If you were to discriminate, there would be no end to your discrimination. Yeah, I would be spending all my time discriminating about whether the women are good or bad, or the makeup is good or bad. So discrimination is not permitted in listening to this podcast. Yeah. So I'm not really allowing listeners to judge this podcast. Okay, words for the broken pestle mallet. That which is called a broken pestle is prized by those of high status as an exceptionally fine, rare jewel of our country. Yeah, they prize emeralds in Colombia, and they claim they'll say that they're not as expensive in Colombia or something. But it's sort of like saying, you should buy a NASDAQ stock or something. There's all these things you should do or shouldn't do, but that requires discrimination. From out of what mountain were you born? From what village did some humble woman use you on a flowing block? Of old you were a yoko shikshi, an ancient fulling hammer. Now you have become a flower vase, hung over the heads of the well-to-do. The nobility is like this. Yeah, the rich people are kind of like that. Yeah, well, if you keep buying NASDAQ stocks, you will soon not be rich. Oh, yeah. One way to deflate wealth, the rich and their capital, they use capital, capital, is for the stocks to drop. And then, is that how you diffuse inflation? By dropping the stock market of the rich? Yeah. Even though you are from a high position, you should not swagger. Yeah, even though I'm in a high position, I should not be swaggering. Even though your rank is low, you should not resent the world. Yeah, if you're poor, you shouldn't resent the fact that you are. Resent the world. Even though your rank is low. Like if my tennis rating is kind of low, like if I lose a game or something, I should not resent the world. Yeah, it's not good to resent what's happened to you in life. Yeah, you should accept God's will as it comes. Yeah. Those in the world share the fate of this fulling hammer. I was trying to figure out what this fulling hammer is. A fulling block, an ancient fulling hammer. He says, Ko no suchi no mukashi subaki ka umi no kikakaka. Yeah, it's really kind of like arrogant and narcissistic, to pronounce the Japanese correctly, so I don't. So. This mallet, long ago, was it a camellia? A plum tree? Yeah, he's saying, was the hammer once long ago a tree or something? Yeah, I suppose. Even my body at once was just stardust. An account of the unreal dwelling in the depths of Ishiyama, behind Mount Iwama, is a mountain called Kubu. The name apparently derives from the Kokubunji temple, located there in the distant past. Yeah, some of this stuff, these temples are basically in his mind and located in the distant past. Yeah, in a way, this podcast is already in the distant past, because by the time it's actually listened to, it will have been in the distant past. Yeah, crossing the narrow stream that runs along the foot of the mountain and climbing up the path, switchbacking 3 times. Yeah, it's funny how when you go to like Santa Rosa, Plicabal, and Colombia, it's kind of interesting. Definitely the roads they do have a lot of switchbacking, actually. I guess it's more mountainous than you might think. That's in the areas where, like, the altitude may be 5,000 feet, going up to maybe almost 8,000 or 7,000 in Manasawas. And you have to switch back 3 times, more than 3 times. Yeah, well, with global warming, are you going to just go up in altitude? Well, yeah, but I've given up speculation in the capital markets. What happened? You got pounded and you were hammered. Yeah, I was hammered with a hammer with the fulling block in the stock market. Also, is that why you seem depressed, or what's wrong with you? Yeah, I had to either sell the stocks or buy puts, and it got to be unnerving. Yeah, it interfered with meditation. Yeah, that's the most importante thing that could happen to you. 200 paces in all, you come upon Hachiman Shrine. The sacred object there is a statue of the Buddha Amida. Oh, so in 200 paces, within your third eye, you come upon the statue of a Buddha. Yeah, you can come upon it. Its presence in the third eye in the shrine would be quite abhorrent to the Jutsu school, but it's so admirable that here, as the Robo school holds, the Buddha dims his light and brings his blessings to the dusty world. Yeah, Well, the Buddha nature, I suppose, or the master power, or God himself, brings his blessings to the dusty world. Well, maybe, I would say so. The light and sound current and the master. You should listen to the broadcast at 10 o'clock, I suppose. He brings his blessings to the dusty world. Well, okay, so you basically covered in dust on the clay tennis court. Yeah, what happened was I was covered in dust. So they had to turn on the water at the clay tennis court. It cooled it off a little. Actually, it seems... Does that actually cool off the tennis court? Yeah, that's kind of an interesting point. I suppose in a way it might, I guess, as opposed to asphalt tennis courts. I suppose it's cooler. Oh, it's cooler anyways where you are. Yeah. Usually few worshippers come. Usually few tennis players come at 7 in the morning, or 6 or 5 a.m. Wow. Are you saying that some of the guys in Cartagena were playing doubles tennis at 5 a.m.? Yeah. Well, if you're so obsessed about it, why don't you do it then? Why do you have to just podcast about it? Yeah. That's a good question. Why do so few tennis players come at 5 a.m.? Yeah. Well, because they need somebody else to come, I guess. Usually few worshippers come and the place emits a deep holiness and tranquility. Well, okay. Most places emit. So you're looking for places that emit a deep holiness and tranquility. But I thought you could find that within yourself in the early morning in meditation. Yeah. Off to the side is an abandoned grass hut. Milkwort and ground bamboo engulf thieves. The roof leaks and the plaster is crumbling off. And it has become a lair of foxes and badgers. Its name is the Unreal Dwelling. Yeah, I think the way you live in Colombia is a little bit unreal. Do you think it's unreal, or is it real? Well, in some ways it's real. In some ways it's more real. But an Englishman in Spanish Colombia, isn't that a little unreal? Yeah, well, there's a reality, though, to it. Of like, I have no air conditioning and no heat. Okay. Does that make it more real in a way? Or what makes things real and unreal? Well, that's why they have philosophy. They have this discussion by Basho. I know he was looking for. Oh, this is an account of the unreal dwelling. Yeah, this is the account of your unreal dwelling in Colombia. Okay. Wait a minute here. So, in other words, if it's not lasting forever, it's unreal. Okay. The owner was a certain monk, the uncle of the great warrior Suganuma Kokishu. Yeah, he lived here until 8 years ago. Now all that remains of him is his name, Old Man of the Unreal Dwelling. Yeah, I suppose the only thing remaining of me here after I leave is I could be like the Old Man of the Unreal Dwelling. Well, I guess it's true that you're an old man. At least you've accepted it. I know most people think they'll live forever when they're young, but Old Man of the Unreal Dwelling. Well, but I thought your dwelling is a real place. Yeah, in a way, I think it's more real in a way than a tourist attraction. That's kind of unreal, I think. Like Cartagena or even San Andres, they're not very real. So this is more real. Okay. I too abandoned life in the city 10 years ago. Yeah, I abandoned having basically any real life in New York about 10 years ago. So what happened to your life? I mean, was there a pandemic or did you stop working 10 years ago? I had to abandon life in the city of New York 10 years ago. Well, can't you have a life in the city? I too abandoned life in the city 10 years ago. Now I'm nearly 50 years old. Yeah, and my metabolic age is hovering around 50, despite all my diet and exercise. Oh, you haven't been able to break through the wall of 50? Yeah, I have to do something. It takes more discipline. Wow. Why don't you discipline that? Why are you so fat and lazy? Okay. Yeah, I could. Well, I mean, I'm still vegan, have a vegan diet, and I play tennis. Yeah, but there's something not quite right about you. An unreal dwelling. Okay, I am a bagworm that has lost its bag. Yeah, in a way, I just have bags here. I have mostly bags of mine. I have a large, sort of like sports bag, which I really haven't even decided if I'm taking that. Yeah, you need to learn how to pack. Oh, that raises the question, do you need a suitcase? Yeah, I haven't addressed that issue because I have to travel to Bogota and then to the U.S. I am a bagworm that has lost his bag. Oh, yeah, what happened is I had a big suitcase and I gave it to the one daughter on a trip back to New York with presents and so. And, my claim to fame is violently minimalistic philosopher. I only travel with a carry-on, so I usually go through some procedure of reducing belongings and stuff. I guess that's one approach, is to leave everything here. Really? I know you left your volleyball. You're going to leave your tennis rackets. I would say you need one, and maybe in Bogota. Yeah, I don't know how you're going to handle it. I am a bagworm that has lost his bag. A snail with... I'm a snail because I'm slow. A snail with no shell. Yeah, you don't have a hardened shell towards life because you're trusting, believe. You are going to trust those people in Bogota. Yeah, you should be more careful. I scorched my face. Man, my face I've been getting a little worn out and sunburned. I've gotten older. In a way, I'm like the old man of the unreal dwelling. I scorched my face in the hot sun of Shisagata in the deep north, where I wore out my heels on the jagged beaches of San Andres. Yeah, and jagged beaches of the northern sea along the painful dunes. What's a painful dune? I scorched my face in the hot sun of Kisagata in the deep north, where I wore out my heels on the jagged beaches of the northern sea along the painful dunes. Yeah, I guess what he needed was water shoes in a way. The jagged beaches, I guess in Japan he had rocky beaches probably. Yeah, even the coral reefs and things can be jagged. Yeah, the coral reefs in San Andres are possibly jagged, so you need to wear water shoes, on the painful coral reef of San Andres in Colombia. Now I float on the waves of Lake Biwa, a gravy alighting its drifting nest in the shade of a single reed. I have rethatched the eaves of this hut and repaired the fences. Early in 4th month, I happened to enter this mountain. Now I wonder if I'll ever leave. Yeah, now I'm wondering if I'm ever going to leave Colombia in a way. What would happen if, I booked a flight and I tested positive on the coronavirus? Yeah, you could end up losing all your money. You could book a flight unless, don't you need health insurance or some sort of flight insurance? Do they have insurance to cover positive COVID test? Yeah, this is the common worries of in the unreal dwelling of the modern world. Yeah, this thing is part of a pandemic of coronavirus is unreal. Oh, you don't believe it's real. In the 4th month, I happened to enter this month, and now I wonder if I'll ever leave. Spring departed not long ago, with azaleas still blooming and mountain wisteria hanging in the pines. From time to time, a cuckoo flies by, jays bring the tidings, and even the drumming of the woodpecker isn't annoying. It's rather pleasing. Yeah, they had drumming. And I lived in Richfield, in that house, and hey, what's the name of that road? I lived on this house. Unusual. I think it's Florida Hill, actually. I can remember the road in Richfield, Connecticut. Florida Hill. They had the woodpeckers drumming. And you found that rather pleasing. Even the drumming of the woodpecker isn't annoying, it's rather pleasing.